Have you ever been fascinated by a world of, like, blinding glamour and huge parties, but sensed something darker lurking underneath?
Yeah.
And wondered what secrets are hiding just below the surface?
Well, today we're diving deep into exactly that kind of story. F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. It's one of those books, isn't it?
It really is. And our goal here isn't just, a plot summary.
Right. We want to quickly get you to a point where you really get Gatsby's significance, its core messages, and maybe uncover some of that surprising depth beneath the shiny veneer.
Yeah, we want you to feel informed, not like you just read a textbook. Understand why it still grabs us almost 100 years later.
And published in 1925, it throws you straight into the roaring 20s.
Oh, yeah. Opulence, jazz music everywhere, but also this real sense of moral ambiguity. Things weren't so black and white.
And it paints this picture really haunting of the American dream, but, well, the dream gone seriously wrong.
So let's set the scene. Fitzgerald gives us our narrator, Nick Carraway. He's a Yale grad, fought in World War I.
And he moves to West Egg, Long Island in 22. He's there to get into the bond business.
And right away, Fitzgerald uses geography to show us the social landscape. It's clever.
It really is. Nick lands in West Egg, which is the new money place, people who made their fortunes recently.
And then across the bay is East Egg. That's the old money. Families with inherited wealth, generations of it.
It's not just about location, is it? It's this fundamental clash. Values, status, everything.
Exactly. And Nick's neighbor, the incredibly wealthy, super mysterious Jay Gatsby.
Famous for those absolutely legendary parties. Everyone's talking about them.
But it's not just random extravagance, is it? There's a purpose.
No, not at all. His whole life, the money, the house, the parties, it's all ultimately this huge, elaborate effort to win back one person.
Nick's cousin, Daisy Buchanan. Beautiful, captivating Daisy.
Who happens to be married to Tom Buchanan, and Tom is, well, he's something else.
Brodish is a good word.
Yeah.
He just oozes that old money arrogance, doesn't he?
He really does. And Gatsby's pursuit of Daisy, it's fascinating because it's so tied up in the past.
Right. It's not just about getting her back now. It's like he wants to rewind time, recreate this idealized moment from years ago.
Which is where the tragedy really starts to unfold, because as the story goes on, you see Daisy's own limitations, maybe.
For shallowness.
Yeah, that, combined with the rigid social structure of the time, it's just too much for Gatsby's dream.
That dream, built on this perfect, maybe imaginary past, it just shatters.
Completely. And Gatsby's death at the end, it's not just him dying. It feels like the death of that version of the American dream.
The corrupted version.
Exactly. And Nick, he's just had enough. He sees the moral emptiness of it all, especially the East Coast elite, and he heads back to the Midwest. He needs to escape.
It's such a powerful ending. But let's talk about the characters who make it all happen. They're unforgettable. Starting with Gatsby. What's the core of him for you, beyond the charm and the drive?
For me, it's his almost childlike belief, his naivete. He seems to genuinely think that if he has enough money, enough willpower, he can literally change the past.
That he can repeat it.
Yes, repeat the past. And his whole dream is this incredible illusion he's poured everything into.
Okay, and Nick Carraway, our narrator, he says he reserves judgment, right? But does he really?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? He claims to be non-judgmental, tries to be objective.
But he can't help getting affected.
Profoundly. He sees all this moral decay, the carelessness, the corruption, and it changes him. He goes from observer to someone deeply involved and ultimately completely repulsed. His disillusionment is our window into the critique.
And Daisy, she's presented almost like a symbol. Beauty, privilege. She's charming.
Oh, incredibly charming. But also...
Hollow. Is that too harsh?
Maybe, but there's a truth to it. She represents this ideal for Gatsby, this unobtainable thing from his past. But the real Daisy, she's fragile, indecisive.
Prioritizes comfort and status.
Absolutely. She can't live up to Gatsby's fantasy of her. And her inability to choose, really commit to either Tom or Gatsby, that reveals a certain moral emptiness.
Then there's Tom Buchanan, Daisy's husband. He's the total opposite of Gatsby's romantic dream, isn't he?
No, completely. He is the embodiment of that casual cruelty, the entitlement that comes with inherited wealth and status.
Arrogant, racist, violent even. He's the solid, immovable wall of old money reality.
That's a great way to put it. He's secure, he's established, and he reacts aggressively to anything that threatens his world, especially Gatsby's new money challenge. He highlights just how rigid and unforgiving that class system was.
Okay, one more key player. Jordan Baker. Daisy's friend, the golfer. She seems so cool, so cynical.
Yeah, Jordan's interesting. She sort of floats through this world embodying that cynicism and dishonesty that Fitzgerald saw in the elite.
She's a cheat, we find out.
Right. She's morally ambiguous herself. Her detachment, her boredom almost, reflects that wider superficiality and moral carelessness. It shows the decay wasn't just with the main players, it was pervasive.
So zooming out, these characters are all part of Fitzgerald's big critique, especially of the American dream.
Definitely. Gatsby is the classic self-made man story, rags to riches.
But the riches don't get him what he truly wants. He's still an outsider to the East Egg crowd.
And crucially, he never finds real happiness. It makes you question the dream itself.
Is upward mobility enough?
The novel seems to say no. It suggests the dream gets twisted, corrupted by materialism, by chasing status and illusions instead of, genuine connection or fulfillment.
Which ties right into the theme of class. The social divisions are stark.
Absolutely. East Egg's old money, West Egg's new money, and then you can't forget the Valley of Ashes.
Right, that bleak industrial wasteland representing the working class.
And this isn't just background detail. This hierarchy controls everything: relationships, futures, who gets accepted, who gets destroyed.
Gatsby, with all his money, can't buy his way into the Buchanan's world. Their prejudice is absolute.
It shows how cruel and indifferent those class lines could be, almost impossible to cross authentically.
And at the heart of it all, there's love. Or maybe obsession, Gatsby's devotion to Daisy.
It's intense. But is it really about Daisy the person?
That's what I always wonder. It feels more like she represents something to him.
I think so too. She embodies that lost ideal, the past he's chasing, beauty, status, everything he associates with that golden moment.
So the obsession blinds him.
Completely. Blinds him to her flaws, blinds him to the fact that you can't repeat the past like that. He's loving an idea, not the real woman.
Which leads us straight to illusion versus reality. Gatsby himself is basically an illusion, right?
His whole persona. The mysterious background, the rumors flying around, the name change even, it's all carefully constructed.
A performance.
Exactly. And Fitzgerald just masterfully peels back the layers of that illusion throughout the book, showing the emptiness underneath. It's a stark warning about living in a fantasy disconnected from reality.
And the way Fitzgerald writes it. Wow. That prose. It's described as lush, lyrical, poetic. How does he create that feeling?
It's in the sentence structure, the imagery he uses. He mixes these beautiful, detailed descriptions of glamour with this undercurrent of sadness, of decay.
Yeah, even the party scenes feel a bit melancholic somehow.
Right. There's beauty, but also this sense of something fragile, something about to break. He captures both the allure and the rot of the jazz age perfectly.
And the symbols he uses are so powerful. Let's talk about the big ones.
Yeah.
The green light.
Ah, the green light at the end of Daisy's dock.
It's always cited as Gatsby's hope, his dream for Daisy. But is it more complex?
Oh, definitely. Yes, it's his dream, his reaching for Daisy and the future he wants. But it's also across the water. It's distant, maybe unattainable.
So it represents the dream, but also the impossibility of fully grasping it.
I think so. It symbolizes both the striving and the inherent elusiveness of that American dream he's chasing. Hope mixed with futility.
Okay, then there are those eyes. The eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg. The giant billboard eyes looking over the Valley of Ashes. They're creepy.
They really are. They're often interpreted as symbolizing, well, maybe God. Or the absence of God in this modern materialistic world.
Like a kind of faded, commercialized conscience watching over this moral wasteland.
Exactly. A God that's just an advertisement, indifferent, witnessing the decay without intervening. It speaks to a loss of spiritual values.
And that location itself, the Valley of Ashes, between the wealthy eggs and New York City.
It's such a potent symbol. It's the dumping ground, literally and metaphorically.
The waste product of all that wealth and industry.
Yes, it represents the moral and social decay hidden beneath the glamour. It's the human cost, the spiritual emptiness that fuels the extravagance elsewhere. You can't have the eggs without the ashes.
So let's talk legacy. It wasn't a bestseller when it came out, right? Fitzgerald actually died thinking it was kind of a failure.
Tragically, yes. But look at it now. It's an absolute cornerstone of American literature. Taught everywhere, adapted constantly.
Film, stage, opera.
Its impact is huge. It's seeped into our culture because those themes, aspiration, illusion, class, the dark side of the dream, they just keep resonating. They feel timeless.
Now, no classic escapes criticism. Some argue the female characters, Daisy and Jordan, are a bit underdeveloped, Maybe just symbols.
That's a fair critique to discuss. They certainly don't have the same internal depth as Nick or Gatsby.
So is it a flaw, or did Fitzgerald use them that way intentionally?
You could argue both. Perhaps it reflects the limited roles and objectification of women at the time. Or maybe they are primarily symbolic, meant to represent the very shallowness and allure that Fitzgerald is critiquing, acting as catalysts for Gatsby's journey.
Hmm, interesting. Another point sometimes raised is the novel's tight focus on the wealthy elite. Does it miss the bigger picture of the 1920s by concentrating so much on them?
Well, the focus is undeniably narrow in terms of class, but I'd argue it uses that narrow lens to make broader points about American society.
And it does give us the Valley of Ashes.
Exactly. George and Myrtle Wilson offer that stark contrast, showing the working class struggle and the destructive impact the wealthy carelessness has on them. So while the focus is the elite, their world's consequences ripple outwards. It's a specific choice, but it delivers a powerful critique.
So, wrapping up our deep dive here, The Great Gatsby really stands as this masterful look at identity, dreams, and what happens when the American dream illusion starts to crack.
It's got that beautiful writing, the unforgettable symbols, and this really sharp social commentary, all wrapped up together.
A tragic love story, yes, but also so much more.
Definitely. A commentary on materialism, a snapshot of an era. And maybe, something to think about long after you finish it is how much of what you pursue, what we all pursue, is for something real.
Versus something we've built up in our own minds, an idealized version.
Right. How much is genuine desire versus something manufactured, maybe by societal pressure or our own fantasies? Where does true happiness actually lie? Is it in the reality we build day by day?
Or are we always going to be a bit like Gatsby, reaching for that distant green light, shimmering across the water, always just slightly out of reach?
If The Great Gatsby sparked something in you, imagine what we're reviewing next. Tap subscribe, turn on the bell, and join the HD book review community, where every page turns into a conversation.